Greetings and salutations, everyone. It is your friendly neighborhood Samus, and I've been asked several times over the last couple of weeks about my builds for the hardcore server. And in particular, I have two. I have what I'm considering the Samus build, and I'm having what I'm considering my PaleMaster build. Now, I think what I'll just do is I'll just take and level up a character on live on Sarlona that kind of follows the model, but we'll get close enough to the general idea that I think most people will be able to follow. So, the first thing is I really am enjoying the Deep Gnome on the hardcore server. I don't really play very much with iconic characters on Sarlona, or what I call the live servers, but I am really enjoying the Deep Gnome in the leveling up process, and we'll kind of see why as we go about. Step 1, 32-point builds. I've been maxing my intelligence, and then basically maxing my con, not entirely maxing. And then I've been putting a few points into strength, and a couple points into wisdom. Now, the reasons for this is, as a gnome, you're going to have a reduced carrying capacity, so every extra point of strength you can get gives you that much more plate mail that you can put in your inventory before you head off to the vendor. And of course, wisdom, will saves is one of the things that I tend to fail a lot of. Although, to be really honest, we might have a little bit extra leeway with this. So, we'll kind of look at it. Now, if you're planning on trapping, which is what Samus does, and we'll probably talk about that in a separate video, but this is where you go ahead and start working on some cross-class important skills. If you're not worried about trapping, you're just going to play as a straight-up PaleMaster, which is what we'll probably do here. I'd recommend you max out your concentration, you max out your spellcraft, you max out your heal, and then you get a little bit of leeway. What I'm going to recommend, and this is where a lot of people are going to kind of, I'm going to say max out your tumble, max out your spot. And then after that, you get a few extra points. You know, you can always do UMD, you can always do a little bit of personalization. I also really like balance. Those are like my important skills. And again, you'll see why I've been doing tumble in just a little bit. Let me just double scan this, that I'm not missing anything obvious. One other thing to consider, if you're going to have Warforged or Artificers in your party that are going to take the, again, for the hardcore server, the Construct Essence, you might want to take some points in repair. A little extra repair goes a long way when you're trying to heal your companions. So, now, again, more weirdness and more difficulty. A lot of times what you'll see people do is take things like maximize and empower right away. I'm going to take augment summoning as my bonus feat, and I am going to go ahead and take maximize here, but you'll probably almost never see me cast it. You can also take extend right away. Either one's a fine choice. I'm going to take maximize, mostly because when I do cast a maximize spell, I want it there. I want that creature dead. Alright, again, hardcore server, one of the best things about being a wizard is you get expeditious retreat. You get both mage armor and shield, if you want them, which I highly recommend taking. And then I'd recommend picking a secondary focus. The reason why this is important is you don't want to over-specialize as a wizard. You have an opportunity as a Sorc to really specialize way down into a elemental damage or whatever. And as a PaleMaster, you're going to want to be focused into necromancy stuff to start with, and then you're going to want to pick a secondary focus after that. So things like fire, if you're into firewall, which is really good for leveling, and I highly recommend it, is really good. But lightning tends to hit more things and has a nice and more interesting range of spells. So I tend to go electric, and then I have like a third accent occasionally for fire when I think firewall is going to be good. So in this case, I'm going to take Shocking Bolt. I'm going to go ahead and take Acid and Burning Hands, just kind of like a little bit of variety. And then I'll probably going to go ahead and take Jump, because it's always good to have a good jump spell, and then Protection from Evil. These are all a pretty reasonable pile of things. I'm going to leave my alignment as lawful good in the event that I decide that I want to splash 2 levels of Monk. I don't foresee that happening on this particular example as a pure wizard. But you know, if things start to feel uncomfortable and you start to feel like, man, I really would like evasion, man, I'd really like some hit points, you can do that. Oh, you know what? Actually, let's back up. Now that I say that out loud, let's not take maximize. Let's take the insightful reflexes. This is what I've been doing on the hardcore server. My apologies from before. Insightful reflexes lets you use your intelligence modifier instead of your dexterity modifier. Sorry, super important. I gotta pick 8 new spells, so one more time. Expeditious Retreat. You could take Featherfall. I usually take... I don't like having Featherfall items on. Yeah, we'll just go like this for now. You're a wizard, learn all the spells that you can, basically. Alright, this will do. We're gonna call her Sam Example. Because why not? And here we go. Whoop. Same example. Life's a little bit different when you're actually using the live stuff, huh? Whoop. Back this train up, yo yo yo. Hello, PaleMaster. Give me all of my good stuff. I'll find a teacher, but not you. I don't know why. I'd much rather do my leveling up someplace else. Sorry, PaleMaster. You're not my boo. Not my boo. I wonder if I slash death where I appear. I bet you I know where. We'll just slash death real fast. I bet we're going to pop... Don't do this on the hardcore servers. But I bet we're going to appear in the marketplace. Nope, back here. Oh man, that is not where I wanted to be. Is there an easier way to travel around? Doesn't look like it. Oh no, I don't play on the iconic servers very much on the live servers, so bear with me as I shoot around. We could have went ahead and prepared our Expeditious Retreat. We possibly are good to go there. Speaking of hardcore servers, you're going to get something very similar to this, depending on what your pre-purchase packs are. One of the things that I like to do is I've been clicking on the Minas Tirith pre-purchase ticket, and that's going to give me my Lesser Tome of Learning and my XP potion. So I have personally learned that if I eat the XP tome and slam the XP potion while still standing on the grotto, that'll basically give me a rank and a half. Basically a little bit more, I think, than that, but about a rank and a half, give or take. And then immediately exiting the grotto, if I run over and do the belt quest, and everyone should know what the belt quest is, I think, that'll give me enough experience to go to level 2, and then from level 2 you should get enough gold or platinum that you can get yourself a level 2 hireling, and then you should be able to do the rest of Korthos very quickly and very, very efficiently. Here's a person right over here, right? Just talk to this person. Just talk to this person. Oh man, I can never find anything when it's on this layout. Everything's upside down and backwards to me. Favorite soul, paladin, monk. There's a wizard trainer, Harry. There's a hairy wizard. Alright, bam. So we're going to take our next level as wizard. Again, we're going to continue to pump the same skills that we were pumping before. Oh, that's fine. Perfect. Again, we're just going to continue taking spells. I do highly recommend Magic Missile. Pretty quick, pretty early. And perfect. Alright, so you're level 2. You've just finished a couple of quests in Korthos. What do you do? How do you spend your action points? So, this is what I have been doing, and in the order of importance that I have been doing them in. I have been taking Awareness, and I've been taking Illusionary Escape. Those are like number 1 and number 2 on my list of importance. And then I've been taking the Magic Missile SLA, a strong follow-up. And then I've been immediately working my way up to this Skeleton Knight. As you can see, this is 5 points spent. but between the Skeleton Knight, your ability to tumble out of danger, and your ability to magic missile, you're basically unkillable in Korthos unless you make a terrible mistake. Now, this is part of the reason why we've taken Augment Summoning. We're going to rely very heavily on our little guy here. I like to call him Harry or Randy. It's up to you. Call him whatever you like. But he has been my friend quite significantly. Let's just pull him up for a second and take a quick gander at him. If you are not experienced with hirelings, this is an excellent opportunity on the hardcore server to give you that opportunity. This guy is basically a hireling or a dog or any other pet, but without taking up a slot in the party. So you have your attack mode, you have your stand still mode, you have your do absolutely nothing, you have your interact button, etc., etc. But he's got 68 hit points with 1 tier in it, so he's actually pretty hardy. He also, as you start clicking in and taking extra points, you'll notice he'll get quite a bit stronger even. Let's see, I think I have to dismiss him before he'll appreciate the changes. The distance between you and your pet is too far away. Something to remember about the Skeleton Knight is that if it dies inside of a quest, you have to shrine inside that quest to be able to resummon him. It's not like the dogs or anything like that, where if it's pre-summoned and it passes away, you can resummon it. You also don't have the ability to reassemble a skeleton at all. When he dies until you shrine. Wow, this should have given him some extra hit points, I thought. Maybe not. Additional ranks increase the knight's damage, attack speed, movement speed, and fortification. But yeah, this guy's been a real champ. I keep saying that as soon as he's not good, I'm going to train him out. He's actually been quite good. All right, so then we keep our next point. We're level 2. We're going to go up to level 3. Again, same basic goodness. And this is where we get to start taking our maximize, our empower, our extend. I like taking extend pretty early, mostly because that lets me put buffs on my miscellaneous hirelings, and the miscellaneous hirelings do 80% of the quest. So, but right now we're just going to take maximize. Level 2, we're going to take, you can take blur. I've been taking blur at level 2, and again casting it on my hirelings. You do not need to. And then I've been taking lesser death aura, and we're going to see why right now. So here we pop 10 extra hit points, right, for 2 points. Awaken opens up our Shroud of the Wraith. We're going to take Shroud of the Wraith, and then we have 2 more points, and I have been taking this guy. It's Cloak of the Night, and then taking the first point over here in Corpse Crafter. Except now we're going to see a significant increase in Randy. So as you can tell, Randy's now got 88 hit points instead of 66. And we also get a couple of sweet powers added to our list over here. We get Shroud of the Wraith. Now, Shroud of the Wraith is going to give us a couple of things. One, it's going to give us Featherfall all the time. It's going to make us much harder to hit. And we're going to have the ability to, if we wanted to, cast Lesser Death Aura on ourselves. But combined with Illusionary Escape, we're going to be able to tumble around pretty much everything. Just like this. They can't hit us. We have a 50% mischance. We're invisible. They know where we're at. They're taking damage from our Death Aura. We're healing from our Death Aura. But no one can hit us. No one can do anything to us. We're just tumbling around like a crazy person. And then when we want to or we need to, we pop up, we cast a Magic Missile, and we're right back to tumbling around. It's actually incredibly efficient. It's very good for staying alive in the early game in the hardcore server. I highly recommend giving it a shot. When you pick up spells that are AoE spells that do some dots, some damage over time, like Firewall or Ice Storm, it's pretty clutch. It's very clutch. So that's kind of how we get to level 3. Level 4 is another pretty simple one. We're going to pump our brain because we're all brain-based here, regardless of how many undead forms that we take. which, spoiler alert, we're only taking that one. Then you can start taking things like Electric Loop or Bull Strength to bolster your guys' attack. You can take Ghoul's Touch if you really want to. Your DC should start coming along pretty nicely. Anything that's stuck holding still while your skeleton beats it to death and your other hireling beats it to death are quite strong. Resist Energy is good, so you can, you know, you're going to be wandering around the harbor. If you don't have access to guild buffs, you're going to want to be able to take the Electric Resist. Scorch is also really excellent as well, but I would start with that or Web. I would start with either Electric Loop or Web, one of the two, typically, and then I start working on taking buffs from my NPC. In this case, I'm going to take them both. Odds are I'd be casting Web in this scenario. That's kind of how that works. Again, I'm going to continue to pump up the NPC pretty much as possible here. And I really like this Eternal Fervor. Yeah, pretty much just like this. And the reason why we're going to continue to pump this up is we really want to have this Undead Augmentation at level 6. We want to make sure we have all the points in there. And then as soon as we have this kind of solidified, we're going to jump up in the Harper Tree, which you'll see in just a second. This continues to make our guy awesome. We have now picked up, he's maxed out his +6 to Strength and Dexterity. So that's 6 plus the 4 that you already have because of the feat you took. That's +10 to all of those stats. And then over here, he's also picked up some Profane bonus to PRR, an extra +6 to Strength and Damage, which is like another +3 to Strength and Damage, or 12 to Strength and Damage. And then of course he's bypassing Fortification like crazy. And when we get a spare point, as you can tell, we're going to just ratchet that up even more. You're going to notice that I'm not taking any of the like SLAs that involve extra spell power, anything like that. We're staying back, we're hanging back, we're letting the NPCs do the heavy lifting. Now this is where we take our Extend spell. The first one I almost always take is Haste, and then I have been taking Rage right after. There's a strong argument for taking a Lightning Bolt. I would not blame anyone for taking Lightning Bolt next. I would not blame anyone for taking Heroism next. Together, these things are sweet. Take whichever one that you really like. Now we have to make some tough decisions, right? We can finish up our Eternal Fervor and start working on the Harper Tree, which is totally fine, and probably what I would recommend. But then I would take my extra points after finishing up the PaleMaster tree, and I'd start putting them over here into Underdark Experience. Underdark Experience is going to give us the points we need to get to Permablur, which is something that we're really looking for. Has an extra layer of precaution. So many times we're going to get dispelled. We're not going to lose our shroud, so we're going to have a little bit of protection all the time. The incorporeal slot, but if you add blurred on that, you're really good into town. Of course, you can always shield block and go invisible and gain displacement, which is why we haven't had to worry about it too much until now. But we're starting to get to the point where things are going to start aggroing us pretty quickly. We just want to be on the safe side, having that permablur. Next level of Wizard. Bam, 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 bam. As you can tell, it starts to get pretty obvious what you're doing, right? Heal, balance, tumble. When we get a few more points in tumble, we're going to stop taking tumble. We're almost to that point now. We're super close. And then level 5, we're going to go ahead and take whatever the other meta magic we don't have. You have Empower, you take Maximize. If you have Maximize, take Empower. Have your big SLAs. Again, you now have Magic Missile set up super high. And we should now have enough spell slots that we can start taking Tumble. Tumble is going to be very important, because you're going to start finding situations where things are going to trip you hard and you want to be able to tumble away. And Heroism is great. Bam, bam, bam. Now we've got our Permablur out of the way. We're almost to Stone Skin. Almost to Stone Skin. So, if you take an Intelligence, and I think if you take... I think I was taking this Boulder Stone, but I decided I didn't love it. So I think I've been taking... What was I taking? Now I'm confused because I... maybe it was his hardy nature? Yeah, I'm confused. You want to get to 10 points over here in Deep Known so you can start stone skinning your hirelings and yourself and your party. You just need 1 rank in it. But I feel like I'm missing a point over here. But that's alright. We'll just leave it like that for now. Nope. Misclick for days. Misclick for days, lads. Again, we still don't want to drag any aggro. We still don't want to be that guy. Level 4. This is where things get weird. You're going to take Death Aura. You can take Dimensional Door. I have been taking Fire Shield. But Negative Energy Burst has been... Now you switch into Awesome mode. Now you're the killer. Yeah, one more dodge. There. Now you're good. Now we've solidified this tree. Now we solidify... Oh, we have not solidified this tree. Undead. Shock. Now we've solidified these 2 trees. So, by level 7, this is roughly where your points are at, in my experience. And then we start going up the Harper tree. We want to get to the Harper leadership as quickly as possible, picking up any hit points along the way. Our spells, or at least in my experience, we'll have a tumble, we'll have a mage armor, we'll have a shield, we'll probably have jump, and we'll probably have expeditious retreat. Right? At 2, we'll probably still have blur. No, we don't have to worry about blur anymore. So we'll have web, we'll have death aura, we'll have electric loop. I've probably by this time picked up a scorch or some other damage dealing spell from the vendor, and that's your 4 spell slots, right? So you had a healing spell, 2 crowd control spells, and a damage spell to add to your list of boom boom booms. Haste, heroism, lightning bolts. Rage is also quite strong at this level, just to kind of fill up the opportunity for... You're like a mama bear, right? Mama bearing it up. And then at 4, you have your bigger death aura and your big negative energy burst. I would recommend at this point you make 2 negative energy bursts. You make 1 that's maximized and empowered, and that sits off of your primary button keys. And then you have on your primary button key, you have just a regular negative energy burst that you spam a lot. If you look at it, it costs 25 spell points. I currently have 393 spell points. By the time I finish casting the buffs, and you want to keep a couple hundred for your death auras, you're only really looking at using it 5 or 6 times in the quest, which is more than enough to heal you, or surprise heal you, heal your skeleton, and take out, basically every mob surrounding you. This thing has been insanely good. Keep an eye out for probably armors. I've noticed have been dropping really easily and are quite affordable on the auction house and the hardcore servers of negative energy spell power. I'm not sure why. You can also find a lot of orbs that have things like impulse or whatever your primary elemental damage is going to be. Again, I recommend electric, but you can find them with the nullification crit on them very easily, and it turns out that I think that that's more beneficial for you to have your wearable be your primary stat all the time, your primary casting stat all the time, and then you can kind of be a little bit more fast and loose with the rest of your items. Alright, so now we're level 7, going on to 8, makes our intelligence bigger, and we have now got our 5 points in tumble. So our 5 points in tumble plus our spell should pretty much get us where we need to go. So now you can start taking a little bit more, like balance is usually, I try to get it to 10. Seems to be the number that I usually, on my live characters, try to get it to. I continue to like taking spots so I can see invisible guys and stuff like that, but this is where I usually start putting extra points into Haggle, if I can find it. There it is. Haggle in the Samus alphabet starts with an H, probably in everyone else's alphabet as well. This is where I finally pick up DDo. I don't always cast it. I don't even always have it prepared, but I do like to pick it up. And this is where you get to choose between one of your whichever SLA or whichever element AoE damage you want to do. If you want it to be Firewall, now's where you grab Wall of Fire. If you want it to be Ice Storm, now's where you grab Ice Storm. If you want it to be Acid Rain, this is if you're not already buying the scrolls from the vendors. If you're buying scrolls from the vendors, you can take whatever you want. If you're not buying scrolls from the vendors, or you haven't yet, I'd recommend taking Firewall, because you can't buy Firewall scrolls at a vendor. And another pretty simple level. Now, we've got our stone skin. This tree's done. This tree is currently done. There's a good argument for taking these SLAs, but usually I start taking them after I've powered up my Harper leadership all the way. So we're going to grab all the hit points out of here, and we're going to take this one. We're going to take Weathered Traveler. The argument actually comes from Beef, that I've been playing with pretty much non-stop on the hardcore server. And he says, and I like this philosophy, is that one more point in spot probably won't save your life, but 1 point of electric resistance taking a lightning bolt in the harbor just might. So it seems good enough to me as a way to go. And then we'll jump through here, grab all these goodies. We definitely want to have Empower by this. Sorry, I'm saying all the wrong words. We definitely want to have. I guess we already took Extend. I was going to say Extend, but Quicken is really good now, because now you can quickly boost that your negative energy burst. So it's quite a good one to have. This is usually where I lean into electricity really hard. I take Ball Lightning, and I take Protection from Elements. Protection from Elements doesn't seem like a very sexy spell, but if you cast that on your whole party and somebody doesn't die to a lightning bolt, or running through a trap in Vaughn 5, or doesn't take a random fireball to the face because of it, you're going to feel like a hero. You're going to save a lot of damage by casting Protection from Elements, and being able to hit all of them at once is pretty great. 4 more points should get us relatively deep in this tree now. Yep, there's our Harper leadership. Harper leadership is done. And now you can kind of focus on whatever you want to focus on. If you're playing what I've called the Samus build, you start taking a little bit of Eldritch Knight points to get the extra hit points, and the SLA for shield and mage armor, which lets you free up those extra first level spell slots for other weird random buffs, jump, merfolks, etc. Whatever you might need as you're starting to adventure. If you are doing the double crossbow inquisitive thing, now's a good time to start working on your inquisitive as a thing to augment your spell casting. You can sit there and shoot crossbow bolts forever from a distance while your guys are doing things. That's fine. If you're going to play it more like a traditional caster, this is where you can start powering up your necrotic SLAs. If you would like to get more healing, which is what I have been doing, negative energy healing, this is where I max out the negative energy adept first. So that's what I'm going to do here on this build. This, after you max this out, is going to give you 30. This one down here at the bottom will just give you an extra 20. So you're going to get more points for your buck if you can wait to start to take it up here at negative energy adept instead of down below. And then we're going to take one more level, because if you can get to level 10 following this guide, I think you'll figure out how to get to level 20 on your own. So we're just going to go to level 10, not no more tumble, more UMD. And this is where we take Heighten. You can also start taking your your Necromancy focus here. I like taking Heighten because that lets me start casting Heightened webs, and things that don't fight back can be killed by your hirelings a lot quicker than when they can fight back. You get an opportunity here to take Summon Monster 5, which is what I would probably recommend, and then you can also go back to, I'm trying to remember where it's at here. Yeah, I think you can take PK at level 4. Where are you? I just started casting this on the hardcore server, and I've reawakened a love for it. Yeah, I must have to remember. I've been casting a lot of Knock. Knock's a good one if you don't have access to a trapper. Yeah, it must be level. What I'm thinking of must be one more level up, level 6. I've been casting the Ray, the negative energy Ray. Man, I've really been digging it. Really been digging it. So, I know what I'd recommend. At level 2, I'd start recommending you carry around a Gust of Wind effect. You can either do the Gust of Wind or you can do the Cyclonic Blast. It doesn't matter, but I would start carrying around a spell-like effect at this point. And again, level 10, you can continue to go up the negative energy tree, or now is when I would take the first little tier of these SLAs just to kind of give you an extra burst of power for maximizing your spell points. Again, that's not a lot. 565 by the time you consider that you're running some sort of Death Aura through the entire quest. That's extended, probably not even maximized or empowered, just extended. I don't really think you can maximize and empower the auras, maybe. I'd have to double check. But, you know, you want to be able to turn your blue bar into your red bar at a moment's notice, and this is a good way to help do that. So having access to these SLAs are quite strong. Magic Missile now should be doing a couple hundred points of damage pretty easily. Maximized and powered, I don't think anything else will apply to it, but it does quite a bit. This Necrotic Bolt does a lot of damage. It can also be maximized and empowered, I believe. Pretty sure all these SLAs can be empowered, heightened, maximized, quickened. And then the touch one's the same. And you're actually in really good shape. Like, you've got all your miscellaneous layers of protection on. Incorporeal, blur, permablur. You can block to get displacement. You can cast displacement if you want to. You should have the extra spell slots at your disposal because you're a wizard. Yeah, you got 4 spell slots. You don't need 4 spell slots. You can, if you want to, you can cast blur or displacement. I wouldn't, but you could. And again, you have your level 4 AoE damage over time effect. So you're rolling around on the ground with a Death Aura running. You're rolling around with inside of some SLA. You're traveling through mobs because of the awesome power of being a Dark Gnome with your Illusionary Escape. And you just pop your head up long enough to cast the spell, and then you're right back into tumbling around. I honestly don't know how much I have learned to tumble back and forth like this with this character. And I will even point out something. I've noticed something kind of cool because of all the tumbling around. Real fast before we sign off. I'm going to push I'm as far over against this training dummy as I can get, right? On the ground. Here, let's use this chick instead. Can't walk through a chick. But as we start to tumble, we're going to tumble further and further away. We're not going to tumble back to the same distance. You know what? Going up and down this hill, it's going to look pretty close. It's pretty similar, but we're starting to... You actually tumble further back than you do there. Look, now we're in line with the girl. We'll actually end up tumbling full body length past her here in a second. Look at that. Isn't that crazy? So you can actually, I think, tumble away from enemies at a pretty reasonable rate. And again, like I said, they won't be able to touch you if you're tumbling around like this, and you'll just kill them with your auras and your other good stuff. Alright everybody, I hope that was enlightening for those of you who are interested in how to get to level 1 to 10 as your wizard. That's the strategy that I have been using. I've been buying hirelings that do melee DPS. I've been using Randy, as they call him, pretty extensively. Even in Vaughn 5 and 6, Randy has been a lifesaver. I've been knocking doors and having Randy run through traps to open doors. It actually turned out that we did not have a wisdom person on either side when we did Vaughn 6. a couple of days ago, and the skeletons were not only able to do the strength levers for us, they also were able to do the wisdom runes for us. So for me on the hardcore server, the skeleton with this kind of layout has been ridiculous. Again, we're talking about 10, plus 14 to their stats, plus again an extra 9 to hit and damage up here, and like it's been doing really well, really well for me. I hope you guys get an opportunity to try it. I honestly feel like if you can get past those first little bit, if you can get to 10 on the hardcore server on your PaleMaster wizard, it'll be easy selling for all of you after that. I promise. I promise. You'll have a good time. And I hope you're enjoying the hardcore server as much as I am. Alright, don't forget to check me out live on twitch.tv/SamusGurobo, SIMIUSGUROBO, or the YouTube channel, the same name. I'm there every single night, every single day, twice a day, every day. And yeah, I hope you found this video informative, and peace and much love, and we'll see you very, very soon. Toodles.